Hey, Gabriel Blake,
Hey, Gabriel Jose.
where are we today?
We are in our smoke-filled apartments with no air conditioning at the height of heat in San Francisco with fires all around us.
I appreciate how descriptive that was, but at the same time, I had the feeling that as I'm looking to the window right now, today was probably the first day that it has been foggy all day and it has been cold, and I'm wearing a sweater. So unless you live above a furnace right now, probably today is not the hottest day.
That's true. It is cooler today, but I am typically able to see the financial district skyline, and it is 100% obscured because of smoke. I haven't seen it in days.
But no, I don't think that today is the smoke because I was actually checking. I know that this sounds like I'm trying to debunk all your theories. I'm not trying to call what you're saying fake news, but today actually the air quality has been good because the air has been just pushing it in the other directions. So it has been just fog. Today has been a foggy day.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah. So I agree with everything else. There is still fires going on. My thoughts and prayer goes to the victim affected by this, and it has been hot for most of the week. But today is the first day that I'm wearing a sweater in a month.
It has been thankfully cool today.
Yeah.
I'm very happy.
Yeah, but in any case, as we are just done with the platitudes,
Yes, the small talk.
the small talk about the weather and the like. What did we watch today?
We watched the Todd Solondz classic, Happiness.
And you are not biased in the conversation. You're not telling me too early if you like it or not, but it's a classic already. So why did you pick this classic, this so-called classic?
I was trying to think, I had some other film completely picked out the last time we spoke, and then you said something, and I was like, oh my God, I want to watch a Todd Solondz film. I have no idea why. I do love him overall. I didn't like his, that Dachshund movie he made recently.
The Dachshund? It's called The
It was
Dachshund.
called Wiener Dog.
Wiener Dog, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like that one, but overall, I love the super fucked up world that he seems to spend all his time in. We recently watched Life During Wartime, and I just wanted to revisit his completely dysfunctional world. That was it. Those are the only reasons.
Yeah. Did you ever watch Welcome to the Dollhouse?
Yes, I've seen most of his films.
And was it good?
Yeah, so the brutal discomfort you feel during Happiness, imagine Welcome to the Dollhouse as the anti-Clueless. It's all about junior high discomfort and all of the disgusting things you go through during junior high. Yes, it's fantastic.
Okay, I had to watch that. So you wanted to watch it again. You told me that the last time that you watched it was 15 years ago?
Yeah, it had to be 2005, 2008, somewhere in there. So 15 years ago, I would say, is about the last time I saw it.
Yeah, it's funny. I think that this was also my second time watching it, and probably watched it 2003 or something a bit earlier than that. But I have forgotten most of it. I only remember the most eschatological details of it about when Jesus was involved. Some specific lines, but the overall plot, some pieces were completely lost to me. Holy shit, there were some dialogues that I remember word by word.
I had forgotten probably 95% of this film. Oh God, it was so uncomfortable. In a good way. In a good way for me.
Yeah. So just summarizing this from my side, as this was your pick, this is basically one of these cross stories movies, but instead of having shortcuts 50 different people, it's just the three sisters of a family and the parents. So we have the parents that they retire in Florida and they're going through a divorce. Well, through a split.
Separation.
A separation or a split. They don't want to use the word divorce. Did I ever say divorce? Then we have the daughter, one of the daughters, I think it's the youngest one, that she's 40 or 39, and she's single. And she doesn't
No,
have...
she's just hitting 30 because the sister says just because
30.
you hit 30 doesn't mean
yeah.
you can't be exciting.
Exactly. Yeah. You cannot be fresh anymore. Doesn't mean
That's
that you
what it
cannot be
was,
fresh. That I love that word. And she's basically the kind of person that it has like a lot of tragedies happening to her, but at the same time, it's like she looks for those tragedies. Like maybe like lack of self-esteem or whatever. But it's she has like the movie starts with her in a date with this guy, and as she's breaking up with him, and she tries to just be a bit more like constructive, or like, well, but it doesn't mean that we cannot be friends or anything like that. And the guy gives him a present, like this very special gift, almost made by her, that he really looks for it. And she's like, oh, I'm going to treasure it for the rest of my life. He's like, no, I'm not giving it to you. I just want you to know that you're a piece of shit and I deserve better than that. I love that scene. Is so great how, that she just remains there, like just sitting, like just looking down into shit, just swallow me, air swallow me. Then the second daughter is like this. Well, I'm going to be like talking about the writer first. Is like this woman that lives in a condo building, and she's neighbors with Phyllis Seymour Hoffman, and she's supposed to be like a poetryist that she writes.
Lara Flynn Boyle.
The one?
Lara Flynn Boyle is her
Lara
name.
Flynn Boyle. Yeah, Lara Flynn Boyle. She does the role of Helen Jordan, and she's a poetryist, and she writes about rape. But she has never been raped, so she has this kind of fantasy. She supposedly sees herself as she's really desire, and she has everything in life that she could desire. So she's a very accomplished woman, at least from her perspective. And his neighbor, Phyllis Seymour Hoffman, has a crush on her, but she's very shy and more than shy, is a bit more sick, twisted, and he cannot be that the courage to talk with her. So she tries to just find her phone number and just accuse her, like just harass her into, hey, I want to rape you. So one day she actually finds the number for her, and she can actually connect. They start connecting into some kind of way, like pretty sick way, about as this woman is looking for being raped, quote unquote. She actually sees an opportunity of just playing that fantasy with his neighbor, but the neighbor is all bark and not bite. Mm-hmm. The neighbor, so it's a bit more like he doesn't know what to do when she actually finds a woman that is okay. Sure, let's do it. Just call me.
And I actually like that scene because she's going through kind of a crisis where she feels like a complete fraud and that everybody's going to find her out and that she's worthless. And then Philip Seymour Hoffman calls her and tells her she's a worthless piece of shit and he wants to fuck her, like she's nothing. And she's like, yeah, that's what I want.
That's exactly what I need. Yeah.
But ultimately, it's the fantasy, right? And fantasy is not the same as reality. And so it doesn't work. But the dynamic is so disgusting.
Well, I mean, it doesn't work because Phyllis Seymour Hoffman character is not the character that she needs, that Lara Flynn Boyle needs, but it represents what she's looking for. And now, jumping to the third story, there is another piece. Actually, Phyllis Seymour Hoffman has some kind of relationship, like pretty disturbing relationship that I'm not going to be developing with a neighbor. Mm-hmm. With this like a woman that she has a crush on him, and there is like some other stuff that happens with her that we will revisit later. And then the third sister is married to a psychologist and is a kind of suburban mother. That is like she has it everything because she lives in this big house with the two kids. It's 2 kids or 3? It's 2, no?
2, yeah.
Yeah, because one is like the hyperactive, like he's just running from one side to another, and the other one is like one of the main characters or leitmotifs of the story.
Oh God, that poor boy.
Yep. Yeah. So the husband is a therapist that actually treats Phyllis Seymour Hoffman, and at the same time, he is a child molester. He's a serial rapist, a serial child molester. And the kid is the son of the family, the elder son of the family. He's going through this phase as a prepubescent kid, like just discovering his sexuality when every single kid is talking about their deeds about masturbating. And he's like just figuring out how to do this. So there are like many Well, there are many. There are like 3, 4 really uncomfortable conversations between the therapist Dylan Baker, I think that is called, and his son about like what masturbation is about and about like the size of a dick.
I'm not talking about the size of the father's dick very graphically.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so fucking uncomfortable, the entire film.
Yeah, it's like everything is like, it's sick. That's the only definition that I had. It's like when I was watching, it's like, this is sick, but at the same time, it's like, it's so well written that I cannot stop watching. And I'm like just laughing with this, is that there is something like some kind of property that they had on the script that I've never found in any other film like this.
And this is his second film. And with this film, he like established himself as one of the most unique and loudest voices in American cinema. And it's so out there that it's just, I've said this 9 times now, it's so uncomfortable, but at the same time, there's a lot of heart in it. There's a lot of humor, and there's just so much to this that you go all over the place, and the characters feel so real and heartbreaking, and everybody is so mean to each other in the most polite way.
Yeah.
It's just, this is so unique a film, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I love this point when towards the end, that I think that it defines the tone of the whole movie, when the I don't know, like Jane Addams, like the daughter, that she's not fresh anymore. And they're talking on the table, and she says something, and the writer, like a self-accomplished woman, she laughs out loud, like about what she said. And it's like she actually realizes that the loser, let's just say, like Joy Jordan, because of the ashtray, she says that, she reacts with a very like sad face, and Lara Flynn Helen, she reacts like, oh, I'm not laughing at you, I'm laughing with you. And Joy just looks at her like with very sad face, like, but I'm not laughing. It's like, that's like the summary of the whole movie. Is like, there is like plenty of times that you're laughing at the movie, no one else is laughing, everything else that is happening there is terrible, but it actually creates this kind of uncomfortable, it's a feedback loop about like what is happening on the screen is extremely uncomfortable, but you laughing at it, it almost makes you feel even more uncomfortable about it.
Yeah, it's just, the script is a master of playing with you as a viewer, and like, what do you find amusing here? Is it because you're a sadist and like to see other people humiliated? Is it because you
Yep. Is that, for example, do you find hilarious that the kid finally masturbates at the end of the movie, that the dog actually licks it and then goes to lick the mother? Do you find that hilarious? Well, the kid, the father is in prison. Is that when you think about like everything that you watch at that point, it's like, holy, why am I laughing? Why can I not stop laughing about this?
I laughed so hard at that final scene. So just a little bit of background. The kid, he's 11, and he has a goal to develop sexually, and he speaks about it very frankly with his therapist father, who happens to be the child molester. Mm-hmm. And so his entire goal is to have an orgasm, and then after the father goes to jail, he finds himself in a voyeuristic situation and finally has his first orgasm, and he walks up to the family dinner and he says so proudly, I can. And I could not stop laughing. Oh my god. And it's so awful, but it's like, holy shit, this guy is hilarious.
Yeah,
he wrote the film.
Yeah, it's amazing. This is a movie that I watched like 17 years ago, and this is the second time that I watch it, and it's still amazing. It's just a masterpiece, and there are like so many things that I forgot. Did you just
call it a masterpiece? I want to be very clear.
Yeah, so you can expect like the score. It's going to be a really high one. But it's when I think about it, I was talking with someone while I was watching or after watching it, and I was saying, look, this is another comedy drama about dystopian suburban America, about like this kind of what is below this perfect, society of American middle high class. Is that how things are actually like just rotten below that. And I was thinking that this is basically, it's from 98, American Beauty was from 99, and American Beauty looks like so tame in comparison. Is that this is like the Disney version of this.
Yeah, 100%. So the original film that picked this up for distribution, they dropped it because it couldn't even get an R rating. It was going to get an NC-17 rating, and then they ultimately decided to release it without a rating. And so it's like there's nothing like when I think of NC-17, you think, oh, horrific violence or incredibly graphic sexuality. It's not there. It's just words that they say.
Look, the scene, no, I mean, I agree, but at the same time, is that the scene when they are like just the father and the son sitting in the sofa and the father is coming clean to this, that scene is like, I remember that scene almost like word by word from the first time that I watched it, because it's one of the most disturbing things that I ever watched. And I was like ton of horror, gore, is that dialogue about like, would you molest me? Is a no, I would jerk off.
Oh my god.
It's no, you don't write that. It's like, how did you write this?
So when we look at that scene specifically, it's horrific, exactly like you said, but there's also a ton of heart in that film. The dad is a fucked up pedophile, but he clearly loves his son, and his son loves him, and the son is just completely devastated, and you feel so much for him. I'm just incredibly impressed at what the director was able to do.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's like what I got from the first time that I watched it is that the song actually is looking for this kind of connection with the father. And it's like, if you are saying that you fuck these kids because you love them, it's like, why you have never fucked me? And it's like the kind of reason is like, it makes sense, but at the same time, is that this is sick. It's like what you're doing here is like just plain sick. It's extremely twisted.
And everything is put in the most kitschy middle-class American setting that you can think of. But the point of the director for doing that is not to make fun of kitschy America at all. He's convinced these people exist, and they do, and he wants to understand them. And somebody clearly hurt him as a child, and he's exploring that. And it's just so real that it's uncomfortable.
Probably because it's a bit, I don't know how to say this. I don't know if it's ironic or not, but the writer, Lara Flynn Boyle, Helen, his brother-in-law, that he actually says like, oh, rape at 12, rape at 13. He's like, oh, I think that I plateau at rape at 12, and then I wrote rape at 13 and rape at 14. And he's like, but I have never been raped, so I don't know if what I'm writing is real or is a fraud. It's like at the same time when she's looking for that experience, is like his brother-in-law is molesting kids.
Yeah, it's I like that you brought up the fact that, because it did remind me of Shortcuts or Magnolia, in that it's so many don't give me that look. It's very much, there's so many storylines happening and they all connect in these unexpected ways.
But this is not really it's for example in Shortcuts they are like very disjointed stories. In this case I had the feeling as these are like three sisters, is that they talk with each other like multiple times, and you can see like there are like three different archetypes of like American women.
It's a little more connected because of the sisters, that's true, but the fact that Philip Seymour Hoffman lives next door to the successful sister and has the therapist, the homemakers, anyway.
And now one of the jokes that I think that I sent you a picture of this one that I have forgotten completely about it is like this woman that has a crush on Philip Seymour Hoffman character. Is like several scenes he's going to ask for money for the funeral of the doorman, of one of the doormans of the building, and it's like in a very revealing scene is that they actually say that she is the one that killed the doorman, and she actually just bagged him. He actually just chopped him to pieces, and he's just disposing like different pieces like over time. And when the very accomplished woman is explaining to the rest of the family this crime, about like, okay, this is what it happens, is that she actually so she used some baggies that I guess that they are like these zip bags.
Yeah, like Ziploc bags.
Yeah, Ziploc bags for just bagging all the remains, blah, 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 blah. And then the rest of the family, they say like, I use baggies. He said, oh, I use baggies too. And she says like, that's the reason why we all relate to this crime, because we all use baggies. Instead of actually saying like, no, you cannot relate to this crime. Because basically it's like, this is a woman that would never want to have sex with this guy. She was just trying to be nice, and this is a bit more like just exploring the isolation and the solitude that we have at the end of the day. That the only person that he talks about that is the psychologist, when he says at some point, he's like, we are all alone. That's where we are.
And just describing that one tiny joke or situation, you can see the horror. It's horrifying, but there's humor and there's realism, and it's just, I don't know. This is, I would agree with you. This is a masterpiece, 100%.
Yeah, but it's a masterpiece that is interesting. I could recommend only to very specific people. I don't know. There was someone that just speaking. He's like, hey, what are you watching? He's like, yeah, I'm watching this movie called Happiness. Like, oh, I should watch it. He's like, no, you shouldn't.
No, don't watch this.
No, it's like, I don't want to be involved with me recommending this. You know, it's like, for example, it's like if anyone that I work with is listening to this, don't watch this movie. I'm not recommending it to you.
My brother-in-law, I think I mentioned him before on the podcast, was kind of my mentor in my early film years, and he had a solid understanding of my tastes, and he was like, you need to check out everything by Todd Solondz. Just go watch it all. And I was like, yep, this is my jam.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. And actually, two things that I wanted to mention. The first one is like we mentioned, I mentioned American Beauty earlier, like a tamer version of the same genre about like just middle America. Middle class America, not middle America. And the other one that I think about is actually the first one that we ever recorded, that is Little Children.
Let me think about that. Yeah, it's...
I won't say that it's like the same level of sickness, or twisted, but it's like they play with the same format.
I agree. I see a distinction in that Little Children was purely existential misery. Like, there was nothing that Kate Winslet had to be miserable about.
Yep.
Well, I suppose a douchebag. These are about truly bad people making bad decisions, and they're miserable because of it. But then again, Kate Winslet chose to fuck Patrick Wilson and cheat on her husband, and they were all miserable. So yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. What American Beauty and Little Children lacked was the intense humor. But yeah, they're very similar.
Yeah, I mean, I crack completely a couple of times during this movie, and there are other times that I'm just on my seat, no, don't do that, don't say that,
So did we record Life During Wartime?
No, that was before. It was a couple of months before we started that. And that's the other thing that I was going to say, that I feel like it was a pity that we didn't watch this movie afterwards. Because, for example, I remember that the opening scene is like a couple having dinner in the restaurant, and the guy starts crying. And then is when the waitress comes and recognizes the voice of the guy as a guy that has been harassing her by phone.
Yeah. So Life During Wartime was released 9 years after this, but it is a sequel. The actors actually changed, but it's the same characters. And we see, for instance, the father in Happiness, who clearly goes to jail for raping these kids. Coming out of prison, and in Life During Wartime, he visits the son in college, and so there's all these connections. And yeah, I wish we had chosen to watch Happiness first and then rewatch Life During Wartime. Yeah,
because I think besides the fact of just changing all the actors, is I think that there are many scenes that they try to play with what the original movie did. So it's that there are plenty of homages to what the original movie had made. And I think that if you have the movie fresh, and I think that we discussed this, that I didn't like this movie as much because I didn't remember so much about Happiness at that point. And I was like, okay, I see the same tone, but it's a movie that builds upon the previous one. It's not a movie that I think that you can enjoy as a standalone movie.
I would disagree, because I saw Life During Wartime without remembering Happiness at all, and I thought this is the universe I want to spend my time in. But now that I've seen Happiness, I will probably watch Life During Wartime today or tomorrow, just to finally understand the connection between the two films.
Yeah. Now, for me, it was a bit just lost in translation. It was a bit more like, okay, this could have been stronger if I still remember most of it, most of the original one. So it's a pity. I mean, the funny thing is, like, I would be down to rewatch Life During Wartime
Huh?
one day in the next year.
So I loved this movie so much that I added actually one of Todd Solondz films that I haven't seen into our to watch list, and it came out 2 years after Life During Wartime, so 11 years after Happiness. It has great reviews, but I really enjoy how tortured this universe is. The misery, the sweetness, the authenticity. I just couldn't recommend this film enough to the right people.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is a movie I don't think that it's about the artistic value per se. I don't think that it pursues that at all.
No, not at all.
No, I think that it's about the dialogue. The dialogue is the beauty, and the dialogue, the stories, how they are intertwined with each other. I think that is amazing.
Just to draw a connection to Little Children, the loser sister, do you remember her character in Little Children?
The loser, I don't remember that they have a sister. Who? Kate Winslet has a sister?
No. The loser sister in Happiness.
Yeah.
She plays the woman who had a mental breakdown and responded to the personal ad that was Earl Jackie, whatever his name is, and he like masturbated in front of her in the car while she like sobbed.
Oh, that's right.
It's
yeah,
the
yeah,
same
yeah.
actress. So
Yeah,
and it
she
feels
is.
like the same character, like 100%.
Yep. It's like it's a woman that she's just there for just doing terrible decisions and not loving herself at all.
And for people taking advantage of her and not taking a stand.
Yep. So what did they say in Russian?
So the only phrase that I paid attention to was when the sister went to the Russian's apartment to apologize to the wife, and she says something. There was one word that I didn't understand, but I think it's basically like "your side bitch is here."
Your side bitch. That's good.
And that was it. Like, I didn't pay attention because the guy is not Russian, so his like accent was really.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah,
his
I mean,
girlfriend definitely was.
yeah. I had to say that I love the fact that he's in love with New Jersey.
He's literally wearing a shirt that says
Yes,
I
I love
fucking-"
New Jersey. Yeah, it's such a like well played thing about like when she actually breaks up with him, and it's like when she's like when he's telling her, he's like, "Oh, I love you." He said, "No, you don't love me. You love New Jersey."
It's just everything. The entire script is so fucking clever. Everything.
Oh my god, it does like the highlight of this character. And it's like he's in love with New Jersey. No, New Jersey is where the action is. No, it's not. I don't think that it is. No, man, I love this movie. It's a movie that I will remember. I mean, it's true that I didn't remember like the whole story, but I remember like exactly how it was the progression. I remember like, for example, when the police comes to interview the father, is that he actually said, "Oh, you guys were asking about this other child that I molested in the past."
They're like, "What? We're here to talk about this other
Yep. I remember the scene when he drugs the whole family.
Oh God. Oh.
How he insists. Yeah. He said, "You need to eat a sandwich." He said, "Are you going to eat a sandwich?" I remember that part, and I remember like the Philly Seymour Hoffman like just coming into the wall and just putting like a letter on top of it.
Now, this film was, for me, like you said, it is a masterpiece. I 100% would recommend it. I agree with you that I lost the details of the plot 100%, but what I remembered was the tone, the atmosphere, and that I enjoyed it a tremendous amount, and that it was sick and dark. But for me, these are the types of films that make me love film.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I wish that there were more movies out there that they had a script as perfect as this, because it's amazing.
So would you recommend it?
To the right people. To the right people. This is not a blanket statement, it's like this is not like other movies that we have given, Cinema Paradiso, I would recommend it to anyone, because the worst thing that it can happen is like they get bored. Basically, with this, the worst thing that it can happen is that they never talk to me again.
Yeah, it's really true. I wouldn't recommend this to my mother.
with a good reason. It's just a weird movie to recommend to parents. I will remember it, and artistically, I just think that it's not its focus, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, its aesthetic is ugly, and kind of repulsive in that kitschy American way. Yeah, I agree. There's nothing like that stands out like in the Diva.
Yeah.
The thing that stands out is that insane metro scene. There's nothing here that is like, wow, that direction was crazy. What stands out here? And the acting. He picked perfect actors for roles.
Yeah, I love the scene when the daughter, the one that works in telemarketing or whatever, Joy, is like she actually is receiving the news that the guy that she dated at the beginning was murdered, but they never addressed that, or that he died or whatever. So they never really developed that.
Right?
Oh, he killed themselves? I didn't get
That's
that
what
part.
I thought. Maybe.
No, you may be right, because then the mother calls, and there is no reason for the mother to call if he didn't actually commit suicide. So I love that scene when she's like trying to explain about like, oh, Andrew, I don't remember the name. Andrew died when the girl that works next to her asks, like, why are you crying?
Molly Shannon?
Molly Shannon?
That was Molly Shannon, the woman that sat next to her in the desk. I was like, what is she doing here?
Well, Molly Shannon's actually asked about it. Like, okay, what are you crying about? I said, oh, Andy died, or whatever is her name. And Andy, it's actually Andy, John Lovitz. And they start like just talking all of them about like, who is Andy? Oh, Andy's the guy that was was he Latino? You know? It's not like, okay, that guy used to work like 4 desks away, and you cannot even remember him? That's just,
and at some point she gives up. She's like, yeah, it was the Latino guy.
Yeah, whatever. It's like just because at the same time she's receiving the call from the mother that is like, you have been a bitch. Is I'm going to kill you, like the mother and this mother.
It's also devastating. Those poor characters in Todd Solondz' universe. I don't know what they did to him. Something awful.
I don't know, man, but it's like I don't think that there is anyone out there that he can write a script like this and make it work.
Yeah, this is an outstanding script.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, it's not only that it makes you feel uncomfortable. It's like it makes you feel uncomfortable, but at the same time, it's that you don't feel like you wasted your time, or that it made you feel uncomfortable just for the sake of being uncomfortable.
And I know we talked about Lars von Trier and Michael Haneke non-stop.
I thought about them, yeah.
But I also thought about Michael Haneke, where in Funny Games, where he's like, who are you really rooting for? You're rooting for the bad guys, is essentially what he says. I don't agree. I felt like he dared you to. He's like, are you gonna laugh or are you not gonna laugh? And you laugh, and you're like, oh my god, how am I laughing at this child molester situation?
I don't fully agree with Funny Games. This is a completely different story, and maybe we should watch it, But it's like you root for the girl from the perspective that, well, and he goes and a spoiler about Funny Games, when she shoots one of the guys, is that at least I was feeling like, yes, hell yes, there is some kind of revenge, there is some kind of like balance in the power here. About like the good guys are just coming on top, and he actually just look at the camera. Haneke looks at the camera, looks at you at the audience, and he tells you, "He's like, this is not this story. I'm fucking with you."
Yeah, but what the actor says is, who are you really rooting for? You know that you're here for entertainment value, and the entertainment we're going to give you is torturing this family. That's what the actor says.
Yeah, that's what he says, is that they actually play with the kind of expectations, but at the same time, it's like, it's not about like the torture. What you expect, because you are used to this format in Funny Games, is that they are going to be like coming on top. And he actually is like extremely smart, like just putting like foreshadowing about like, is that there's going to be a knife here. There's going to be like, like small pieces about like just making you think that they have a chance, but it's like, it's not. It's that he's just playing I don't know, like a vengeful deity, and say like, they're fucked. I'm playing with you. I'm the director. I'm the god of this world.
I respect your decision, and I put Funny Games on our to-watch list. Do you want to watch the American version or the Austrian version?
The Austrian version, of course.
Okay, good. We will discuss this in detail in the future.
Yeah, but and we discussed this in the past. This is not the first time. It's like this movie is like probably the one that brought us together.
This is
maybe,
the night that I met Jose, it was the first. Well, we went to a Björk concert together, but we didn't talk. But then the first time we hung out at a bar, we started to talk about Michael Haneke, and I was like, "This is my friend's soulmate."
Yep. So maybe that's what brought us together, and maybe this is what is going to be like tearing us apart. We talk about it again.
We're gonna watch funny games and argue about it.
Yep, and just say like you are completely, absolutely wrong. So yeah. Anything else to say about Happiness?
Just that I fucking loved it, man.
Yeah, I think that this is a good pick, and the only thing that I miss is the having watched Love During Wartime after this instead of before.
Yep, same.
Yeah, but you already gave it an 8 to Love During Wartime.
Yeah, and I wonder how that would change if I were to watch Life During Wartime tomorrow and I was to understand the backstory.
Yeah,
I think it would probably change.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, I gave it a 6 because I think that for me was like just missing like part of the context. And I think that it's not only the context, it's about like the parallels with the original movies. And now that I rewatched them, it's like the scene in the restaurant is like the same scene opening this movie. Yep. And it's okay, it's like it's just telling you that it's like these people, they didn't learn from everything that happened today, so they're still making the same fucking mistakes. So
rate this.
The what?
So what would you rate this? Not rape this. What would you rate this?
Rape a 13, rape a 14. I would rate it a 9.
That is my score exactly.
Okay. But I think that is the script is perfect. It's like I wouldn't change anything. There are a couple of times that I feel like, a couple of points that I feel like maybe this was a bit low, but it comes always on top. It's like it's never like, oh, okay, now it's the railing. It's like, no, it's not the railing. It's like 2 hours and 20 minutes. It doesn't really feel like that. And there are like very few movies that they can do like more than 2 hours of it that you feel like I want more, and I wanted more at the end.
Like as atmospheric as a Quentin Tarantino film, a very different world, but it was like, yeah, I don't mind sitting here with you for 2.5 hours, 3 hours. Let's just experience the world.
Yeah, and if it was actually my pick, probably I would actually go with Pulp Fiction right now for just completing like another script. Well, it's my pick, but it's like I'm not going to be like picking one of the movies that you wanted to pick. So I'm going to be picking.
Oh, it is your pick. Tell me what's your pick.
My pick is going to be, and I think that you're going to hate me for this, but I think that it's a script that is like really, really good on that perspective, about like just getting you engaged for a long while, but it's The Goodfellas.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
I'm sorry, man.
That's fine. Next week we're gonna watch Pineapple Express.
I'm just trying to just connect a bit with whatever we are picking. It's like I think that Pulp Fiction would have been like a better pick, from that perspective. But I'm going to be letting that for another time.
I have not seen Goodfellas. You have, right?
I have multiple times.
Okay. So new film for me.
Yep. So let's see if you like this more than Dancing with Wolves. Because it's the
Can't
movie.
Wait.
Yeah. All right. Anything else to say about Happiness?
Nope. You should all go watch it, except you, Jessica, sister.
Just don't do it. Don't do it. Please don't do it. We still want to be friends. Yeah. It's one of those movies that is like it's not like a dirty secret, but it's like I understand why the reviews they are not going to be in Rotten Tomatoes like a 99%.
Yeah,
because it's a movie.
Science Monitor can't be like, yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit more like, look, it's the kind of movie that you may like, but it's pretty hard to defend that you like a movie that is a comedy and one of their main arcs is about a serial child molester.
And that's the irony that Todd Solondz loves.
Yep.
So, yep.
So it's not about that you root or cheer for the child molester, but it's a bit more like all the absurd of the situation, and it's a bit more like absurd, really absurd of the situation.
And it goes with what Ricky Gervais said, is that there's no taboo subject that you can't joke about. And it's not that you're laughing about a child getting molested. You're laughing at the absurdity of very different authentic things. So hopefully it doesn't sound like we're laughing at child molesters, but just at the way that this director and writer sees the world.
Yeah, and I think that, but that's the reason why the script is so good, because you have at the same time like two other members of the family that is like the kid that cannot masturbate, and he has like these very uncomfortable conversations with the father when the father is almost like just offering. No, he actually offers to help him come.
No, to show him how to come.
To show him how he come. We don't know exactly how.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's going to do it. Yeah, but it's
vague.
like, yeah, it's vague, but it's specific enough to make you feel weird about it. Weird in a negative way. Or, like the wife that is basically a placeholder. That is like his whole personality is like, I'm living the American dream.
Yep.
That is like, but she doesn't have like any kind of deepness to her. There's no depth to her character. It's like she's just a character that her only reason for existing is just being married to this guy.
Yep. A wife and a mom.
Yep. That's her whole thing. So it's like when you actually put this child molester in this triad of characters at the same time, it's a ticking bomb, and it works perfectly. So
I would agree.
Yeah,
the spell works perfectly.
Yeah, and it's not about like as you were saying, is that you don't laugh about the child molesting act. Of course not. Is that it just makes you feel uncomfortable, but in the combination with the other elements, it actually turns into a comedy.
Yeah, a very, very sad comedy.
Oh yeah, pretty sour and dark. Yeah. Okay, man.
Well, so what are we watching next week?
The Goodfellas again.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's right.
I didn't change my mind. Sorry,
good try. In my mind,
I
was hoping for you to pick something a little better. But...
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Yeah, let's see what you said after 3 hours.
Oh, fuck you, man.
Okay, man. We don't have anything else to say. So thank you so much for everyone listening out there.
Wash your hands.
Bye.